Hello,
What's
everyone.
your name again? Steve.
My name is Desiree Smith,
Johan.
and I'm the founder and president of More Than a Hashtag Las Vegas. Thank you for attending and participating in the push for justice in the name of Jorge Gomez. Today, the attorneys and family of Jorge Gomez will be releasing some very important information. Information that we have been in the streets demanding and on social media circulating. It is also Jorge Gomez's 26th birthday today. We will have a Spanish translation for some of the speeches and especially the information that will be released. The lineup will begin with the attorneys, his sister Jasmine Gomez, following with various organizations throughout Nevada. After our speakers, we will open for questions and subsequently do a march around the building, come back and begin the celebration of life. It will be ending with a poem release, and they will be singing Happy Birthday in 3 different languages per their tradition. Our first speaker is Rodolfo Gonzalez with the law offices of Rodolfo Gonzalez and Edgar Flores.
Saludos a todos, mi nombre es Desiree Smith, soy fundadora y presidenta de Hashtag Las Vegas. Muchas gracias por asistir y participar en el empuje por la justicia en nombre de Jorge Gómez. Hoy los abogados y familiares de Jorge Gómez estarán dando a conocer una información muy importante, información que hemos estado exigiendo en las calles y las redes sociales. También en un día como hoy, 19 de febrero, Jorge Gómez hubiera cumplido sus 26 años. Tendremos traducciones en español para algunos de los discursos y especialmente para la información que se dará a conocer. La alineación comenzará con los abogados. Enseguida será su hermana Jazmín Gómez, que mencionará varias organizaciones de Nevada. Después de nuestros oradores, abriremos para preguntas y haremos una marcha alrededor del edificio. Regresaremos y comenzaremos la edición. Terminará con un poema y liberación. Nuestro primer orador es Rodolfo González con las oficinas legales de Rodolfo Gómez González y Edgar Flores.
Morning. I'm going to take my mask off so that my voice can carry a little bit more. So I'm Rodolfo Gonzalez, and I have the honor and the privilege of representing the Gomez family in this case. Our legal team includes the Gonzalez and Flores law firm, the law offices of Dale Galpo, and Claggett and Sykes law firm. Today's a painful day. Today's a painful day. Today's Jorge Gomez's birthday. He should be celebrating his 26th year of life. He should be at home, eating cake, taking pictures, opening gifts, enjoying his life with his family. His family should be hugging him, holding him, telling him how much they love him. Instead, the Gomez family is here demanding justice because the Las Vegas Metro Police Department shot and killed Jorge Gomez. On June 1st, 2020, Jorge had been exercising his constitutional rights. He was exercising his First Amendment right to peacefully protest. He was walking these streets right here, right standing, protesting police brutality. He was protesting the wrongful killing of George Floyd. He took part in the BLM and the Black Lives Matter demonstration with guns in his person and a ballistic vest. All in compliance. This is an important part. All in compliance with Nevada's open carry laws. He was exercising his Second Amendment right to bear arms. Today marks 263 days since the Gomez family first learned that the Las Vegas Metro Police Department shot and killed Jorge Gomez. 8 months and 18 days. 8 months and 18 days, and we are just now learning what really happened on June 1st, 2020. Up until today, the only thing that we've known about this case, the only thing that the people of Las Vegas, our community, the only thing they've known or we knew about this case is what Las Vegas Metro Police Department told us. That's it, nothing more. But through hard work and investigations, we now know that when Jorge Gomez reached the front of these stairs that we're right in front of, an officer with the Las Vegas Metro Police Department standing at the top of the stairs. He confronted Jorge. They had an exchange of words. Jorge was trying to get to his nearby parked vehicle. He was trying to go home. That's all he tried to do, is go home. Another officer, Officer John Squale, he raised his gun, pointed it at Jorge, and used unreasonable and excessive force on Jorge. He shot at him with non-lethal rounds. Now, like any rational human, Jorge started to run. He started running the opposite direction. He was trying to avoid getting shot. Now, it's important that I point out that Officer Squale was the only officer who opened fire on Jorge when Jorge was standing in front of the footsteps of the federal courthouse. No other officer opened fire. No other officer felt threatened. We're going to show you the videos, and in those videos, you're going to see that these officers, there was 5 to 7 other officers standing alongside Officer Squale, and their disposition, their demeanor was relaxed. Their body language demonstrated that they didn't feel threatened. When Officer Squale fired upon Jorge, he set in motion a chain of events. He sent Jorge running into a figurative firing squad. Now, that's when officers Ryan Fryman, Dan Emerton, Vernon Ferguson, and Andrew Locker were standing in front of the Foley Federal Building right across the street from here. They pointed their guns at Jorge, shot him 19 times, striking or fatally striking him. Now, if any other person other than the police officer did this, that person would be charged and criminally prosecuted for murder. A badge is not a license to kill. Police are not above the law. Police officers know the law, and they're trained not to use deadly force unless a person poses an immediate threat or serious bodily harm. And we don't have that in this case. We don't have that in this case, and the DA needs to charge these officers for the wrongful killing of Jorge Gomez. Now, days after the event, the Las Vegas Metro Police Department, they held a press conference, and they told us that the reason why officers first opened fire with non-lethal rounds on Jorge is because they felt threatened. They felt that Jorge was going to attack them with a baseball bat. They claimed that they feared him. They also told us that Jorge raised a rifle, that Jorge pointed a gun. You all remember that press conference, and if you don't, it's in YouTube. I urge you, go look at it. Listen to the words that they told us. They called him a suspect, not a victim, a suspect. Now, in a few minutes, I'm going to show you the videos. I'm going to show you the videos that we've obtained during our investigation, and you're going to see that Jorge did not assault these officers. He didn't engage these officers with a baseball bat. He didn't point a rifle or a gun at them. He was simply trying to go home. That's all he was trying to do. Now, the lawsuit already includes officers Fryman, Emerton, Ferguson, and Locker. We recently amended our complaint. The lawsuit now includes Officer John Squale. He's the officer who set this chain of events in motion. This is the same officer that has 2 prior officer-involved shootings. This is the officer that, in this case, used unreasonable force and has 2 prior officer-involved shootings. Let that sink in. Now, I also wanted to take the opportunity to speak directly to the members of the community who are following this case online, and to those people who are standing here with the still grieving Gómez family. This conversation far exceeds any legal court battle. Today we come together to answer a call to action. One death is one death too many. If we wish to collectively change the wrongs of the past, then we must challenge and confront the systematic failures of the present. The single greatest thing that we can do for the Gomez family is do as they taught us. They've taught us to speak even when our voices tremble, because that's when we have the most to say. Jorge Gomez's parents are relentless. They're not gonna just sit here and take it. They've taught us to look at a powerful police entity right in the eyes and tell them we're not gonna sweep this under the rug. So we must win in the courts, we must win in the streets, and we must win in the legislature. Because no other family should have to endure what the Gomez family is enduring right now. The Gomez family has been speaking with our Nevada legislators, and our Nevada legislators agree that this is an injustice. They're currently proposing bills to ensure that this doesn't happen again. The bills that they're proposing are to ensure police accountability, police transparency, and police training. The Gómez family and their heroic pursuit of justice has inspired these pieces of legislation. These are laws to be forever remembered in the name of Jorge Gomez. Again, this is greater than all of us. We can't just sit idle and continue to allow this to happen to other families. We must do something. We must raise our voices. We must get involved. Call your legislators and remind them why change is necessary. Now, I'm going to move on to the videos. It's going to be kind of difficult to see the television given the sunlight, but we have a press kit for all of you that we're going to hand out at the end of the presentation. They're in USB drives. We have all the videos. What we're going to do right now is just go to the minutes that we feel is important for the community to see. And then we're also going to, part of the USB drive also has the amended complaint that includes Officer Squale. So Stephanie, if you could go to video 1. Is it there? Okay. Let me see. gets up. 2 seconds later, as he's running away, he's shot. This is a video that was from a mobile camera like that one right there. It was behind this gate right here. And the important part of this video is that you see officers casually standing around. One officer's on his phone. This officer right here is on his phone, casually standing around, not doing threatening. I'm going to rewind it 10 seconds because I want to point out this is the person who was doing this officer. He's down on the right. He opens fire on Jorge. You can focus your cameras in on the bottom right corner. That's what officers do. Pointing his gun, he starts shooting. Now, video, we're going to go to video number 4. Now, this video is from a building that is on the northwest part of the city. We don't know what building this is, but we're going to be able to see moments where Jorge is walking down Ladies Boulevard. You can see him right here. He's walking up down Vegas Boulevard towards the steps. And then you're going to see officers engage him, and we're going to fast forward to 550. And the important part about this video is that you're going to see Jorge up here, right here, right behind the building. He's in motion. He's running away from the officers who are across the street. Video we're going to show. We actually have 6 videos, but we're not going to show the last one. That one's we're not going to show. The video we're going to show you right now. This video shows that officers were across the street at the Lodi Federal building. It shows the distance from where they were at and where Jorge was at. So again, at the end of this presentation, we're going Now, if you guys have questions, if we could save them towards the end, and we'll answer the questions for you.
Thank you. Our next speaker, is this on? Our next speaker is Jasmine Gomez, the sister of Jorge Gomez. Hello? 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 No. Got another one? No, I'm just one moment.
Plug in. Plugged in, I don't know what happened.
Oh, okay. All right. So our next speaker is Jasmine Gomez, the sister of Jorge Gomez. Today's my brother's 26th birthday, but instead of celebrating, we're mourning.
Hoy es el cumpleaños de mi hermano, ya ha cumplido 26 años, pero en vez de estar celebrando, estamos de luto.
We should be eating cake, but
Deberíamos estar comiendo pastel,
instead, none of us are probably going to be able to eat tonight.
pero en lugar de eso, lo más seguro es que nosotros podremos comer.
We'll be too busy thinking about the videos released today.
Estaremos muy ocupados pensando en los videos que dimos a la luz,
About how many pedestrians have walked past the spot where my brother died and didn't even know.
acerca de cuántos peatones han pasado por este lugar donde murió mi hermano.
Of how quickly the city cleaned up the blood off the sidewalk, but how it took 8 months for us to get the videos.
Como de la tomó en limpiar la sangre de la banqueta y sin embargo se tomaron 8 meses para que pudiéramos conseguir los videos.
Of how he was robbed of his 26th birthday and every single one after that.
De cómo le robaron el cumplir 26 años y cada uno de los que se seguían después de eso.
About how we won't be able to give him hugs anymore, and he gave the best hugs.
Como ya no podremos abrazarlo cuando él daba tan buenos abrazos.
All I have of him are some clothes, some old clothes that I wear as pajamas,
Lo único que me queda de él es ropa vieja, ahora uso como pijama.
and a bit of ashes that I have hanging in an urn around my neck with a pendant with his initials.
Y un poco de cenizas que tengo en una pequeña urna que traigo aquí como pendiente con las iniciales de él.
But what I should have is a big brother who got us stuck in the mud on a hike up to our knees.
Pero lo que yo debería tener es mi hermano mayor. Acabó causando que nos atascáramos en el lodo que nos llegaba hasta la rodilla.
The brother who knew that my mom couldn't get mad at him when he came home for the holidays, and so he ripped open all of his presents so that I could have an early Christmas.
Mi hermano, el que sabía que mi mamá no se iba a enojar con él cuando vino para los días de fiesta y permitió abrir todos los regalos para que yo pudiera tenerlos antes de tiempo.
The brother who helped take off my training wheels, but he didn't know how to use a screwdriver, so him and Jonathan ripped them off.
Mi hermano, el que le quitó las llantas de entrenamiento a la bicicleta, pero como no sabía usar el desarmador, nada más se las arrancaron.
Who would always somehow know when my worst day was and text me.
El que de algún modo siempre se daba cuenta cuando yo tenía un mal día y me mandaba texto.
It took a second for lvmpd to kill my brother, but it took 22 for them to help him.
Se tomó un segundo para que la policía de Las Vegas matara a mi hermano, sin embargo se tomaron 22 para poder... 22 minutes or seconds?
22 minutes.
Pero se tomaron 20 minutos para poder auxiliarlo.
Meaning that they are 1,320 times more effective at killing the innocent than helping them.
Lo que significa que son 1,320 veces más eficaces para matarlo que para ayudar.
And when I say they, I mean Officer John Scudo,
Y cuando digo ellos, me refiero a la gente John Scudo,
who shot 5 non-lethal rounds at my brother,
que tiroteó 5 veces a mi hermano con bala letal.
Officer Dan Emerton, who fired 4 lethal rounds,
El agente Dan Emerton, que le disparó 4 balas fatales.
Officer Vernon Ferguson, who fired 3 lethal rounds.
El agente Vernon Ferguson, que disparó 3 balas fatales.
Officer Andrew Locker, who fired 5 lethal rounds.
El agente Andrew Locker, que disparó 5 balas fatales.
And Sergeant Ryan Fryman, who fired 7.
Y el agente Ryan Fryman, que disparó 7.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Justice for Jorge! Our next speaker is Petra Wilson, who is Rex Wilson's wife and was another victim killed by John.
Not working. Okay. It's on? Okay. Hello, my name is Petra Wilson, a community member and a constituent of the state of Nevada. My family.
Hola, me llamo Petra Wilson y yo soy miembro de esta comunidad constituyente del estado de Nevada.
My family is Native American and enrolled members of the Oglala Sioux tribe located in Pine Ridge, South Dakota.
Mi familia, could you repeat that for me? I am Mi familia es indígena, nativoamericana y somos miembros enlistados en la tribu Oglala Sioux que está ubicada en Pine Ridge, South Dakota.
My husband of 28 years, Rex Vance Wilson, was killed by lvmpd on October 13, 2016.
El 13 de octubre del 2016, mi esposo, que teníamos 28 años de casados, se llamaba Rex Wilson, fue matado por la policía de Las Vegas.
My husband and I chose to leave the state of South Dakota when he chose to join the Marine Corps.
Cuando mi esposo decidió unirse a lo que nombran Marine Corps, él y yo decidimos de South Dakota.
This provided us a stable life, and he was a proud veteran Marine.
Esto nos proporcionaba una vida estable y él estaba muy orgulloso de ser un Marine veterano.
We decided on Nevada on our home because we believe it would give our family many opportunities.
Decidimos hacer nuestro hogar en Nevada porque pensamos que esto nos traería muchas oportunidades.
Our family has always been active community members.
Nuestra familia siempre ha estado activa en la comunidad.
My husband during his life volunteered as watchdog for an elementary school.
Durante su vida mi esposo servía de voluntario en lo que nombran watchdog en una escuela primaria.
A den leader for Boy Scouts.
También era un encabezado de los Boy Scouts.
A basketball coach.
Era entrenador del baloncesto.
And had volunteered for Clark County School District Indian Education Department for many years.
Y por muchos años fue voluntario de la escuela del distrito de Clark acerca de estudios de los indígenas.
I personally continue to work with Families United for Justice Las Vegas Group.
Yo actualmente sigo trabajando con la organización conocida como Familias Unidas para la Justicia aquí en Las Vegas.
Today, a beautiful group that is 40 members strong.
Que hoy somos un grupo hermoso de 40 miembros.
And I personally thank them for giving me the strength to speak.
Y personalmente les doy las gracias a ellos por darme la fuerza de poder hablar.
Families United for Justice Las Vegas created 40 demands.
Las Familias Unidas para Justicia en Las Vegas han creado 4 exigencias.
And some of these demands,
That's 40 exigencias.
Some of these demands point to misuse of policy and procedures.
Algunas de estas exigencias señalan hacia el mal uso de política y procedimientos.
The lack of accountability for actions taken.
La falta de responsabilizarse por las acciones tomadas.
And the lack of transparency within the Las Vegas Metro Police Department,
y la falta de transparencia dentro del Departamento de Policía de Las Vegas,
especially in the aftermath of police shootings and killings resulting in death.
especialmente después de los resultados que policías disparan a matar y esto resulta en muerte.
I'm a mother who was left with 4 minor children and 5 adult children at the time of my husband being killed on October 13, 2016.
Cuando mi esposo murió el 13 de octubre del 2016, yo quedé como madre soltera de 4 hijos menores de edad y 5 hijos que eran adultos.
We are represented by Mitchell Bison Law Firm
Somos representados por Metro Bison Law Firm
and currently have an open civil case in which John Squeo is a plaintiff.
y actualmente tenemos un caso civil en el cual el demandado es John Squeo.
The 3 other officers are Gowans, Lindbergh, and Swartz.
Los otros 3 agentes fueron Gallers, Lindbergh y
John Squeo was one of these 4 officers who shot and killed my husband, Rex V. Wilson, after chasing him down with 39 police vehicles in pursuit.
John Squeo fue uno de los policías que le disparó y mató a mi esposo Rex V. Wilson después de haberlo perseguido con 39 vehículos de policía.
John Squeo was also the officer along with his partner, Christopher Gowans,
Y John Squeo, en junta con la pareja Christopher Gómez,
who rammed the vehicle my husband was in,
chocaron contra el vehículo en el que iba mi esposo,
engaging in a use of force tactic called the pit maneuver.
participando en un uso de fuerza nombrado como pit, movimiento pit.
The vehicle had already been hit by stop sticks and was slowed down at the time this took place.
Para cuando esto sucedió, el vehículo ya le habían ponchado para detener la velocidad.
Officer Squeo and Officer Gowans opened fires within seconds upon them.
En cuestión de segundos, el agente Squeo y el agente Gorge le disparó a él,
Upon them doing their pit maneuver,
ya que chocaron contra el vehículo.
which also involved ramming the car my husband was in repeatedly.
Parte de esto fue repetidamente chocar contra el carro en el que estaban los dos.
Two other vehicles driven by Officer Lindbergh and Officer Swartz, who also shot and killed Rex,
Otras 2 patrullas, uno iba conducido por el agente Lindbergh y otro por el agente Swartz, también le dispararon y mataron a mi esposo.
were also involved in the maneuver.
Ellos también participaron en esta táctica.
Thirty 36 times he was shot.
Le dispararon 36 veces.
36.
36.
He was not given medical help,
No le dieron asistencia médica,
so we do not know how long he was alive.
así es que no sabemos por cuánto tiempo estuvo vivo.
But it was long enough
Pero fue lo suficiente
to write the word sorry
para escribir las palabras lo siento
in his own blood on the radio.
en su propia sangre, ahí en el radio.
I am appalled, disgusted, and heartbroken
Me siento ascada y tengo el corazón roto
that this man has been involved in 3 shootings,
de que este hombre ha participado en 3 tiroteos
which resulted in the deaths of Brian Keith Day,
que resultaron en la muerte de Brian Keith Day.
which also involved Officer Gowans,
Eso también involucró a la gente Gómez.
Rex V. Wilson, their second killer,
Un año después mataron a Rex V. Wilson
and now Jorge Gomez being the third.
y ahora el tercero fue Jorge Gómez.
Would they both be alive
Ellos dos estarían vivos
if John Squeo was properly monitored after the first shooting?
si después del primer tiroteo hubiesen monitoreado debidamente a John Squeo.
Would Jorge be here today
¿Estaría aquí Jorge si hubieran hecho eso?
to be with his mother,
Para que estuviera con su madre,
his family,
con su familia,
on his birthday?
en su cumpleaños.
To have knowledge that this officer is now a detective
Y saber que este agente ahora es detective,
and is still out on the streets with guns at his disposal
que sigue aún en las calles con armas de fuego disponibles a él.
is simply put
Simplemente
terrifying.
causa terror.
To know that he could be standing next to you,
Saber que él puede estar parado al lado de uno.
a justified serial killer
Un asesino en serie con justificación.
who uses his badge to protect himself.
Que usa su placa para protegerse a sí mismo.
When the oath says to protect and serve the community and its people,
Cuando el juramento que hace indica proteger y servir a la comunidad y a las personas de ella.
this could be you or your family.
Esto podrían ser ustedes o su familia.
What happened to our families,
Lo que le sucedió a nuestras
Jean
familias,
and I,
a mí,
should never have happened to anybody.
nunca debió sucederle a nadie.
If John Squeal had been held accountable,
Si a John Squeal lo hubiesen hecho responsable,
evaluated properly,
lo hubieran evaluado debidamente
and went through more stringent evaluations,
y hubiera tenido unas evaluaciones más rígidas,
Jorge Gomez could possibly still be alive today.
posiblemente Jorge Gómez aún estuviera vivo hoy.
This makes him a repeat offender.
Esto lo hace a él un ofensor repetitivo.
There is no question about that.
De eso no hay duda.
Rex could still be alive today if John Squeal and Christopher Gowans
Y Rex también estaría vivo hoy si es que John Squeal y Christopher Gómez
had not raced to be at the forefront
no hubieran corrido para estar enfrente
of the chase that day.
de perseguirlo ese día.
But again, why wouldn't they?
Pero de nuevo, ¿por qué no hacerlo?
They have yet to see officers be held accountable.
Hasta la fecha no hacen que los policías sean responsables
At the standard of law that citizens are.
para que estén en la misma norma de ley que los ciudadanos.
They act as if they are immune
Se comportan como si fueran inmunes
to the criminal court system
al sistema penal.
and often cry out of fear for their own lives.
Y muchas veces ellos dicen que lo hacen por temor a sus propias vidas.
And qualified immunity protects them from being tried as the serial killers they become.
Y esta inmunidad que queda calificados los protege y no quedan condenados como los asesinos que son.
They are instead given extended paid administration leave,
En lugar de eso se les da un pago extendido y les dan un permiso de estar fuera por cuestión administrativa.
protected by NRS 289 Officer Bill of Rights,
Están protegidos bajo los derechos de los agentes NR 289.
they should not be paid to kill.
No se les debería de pagar.
People are not an enemy in war.
La gente no son enemigos en guerra.
We are citizens they take an oath to protect.
Somos ciudadanos a los que ellos toman un juramento proteger.
When will this stop?
¿Cuándo se detendrá esto?
When will this stop being normalized?
¿Cuándo dejarán de normalizar esto?
When will the law actually protect the citizens?
¿Cuándo será que la ley realmente protegerá a los ciudadanos?
When will they stop making policy and procedures sliding lines in the sand?
¿Cuándo será que dejarán de hacer los procedimientos y la política que se deslice como en la arena?
And when will they see that their actions impact others for life?
¿Y cuándo podrán darse cuenta que sus acciones impactan a otros de por vida?
The loss is unbearable and time doesn't care.
La pérdida es inaguantable y al tiempo no le importa.
I could not find resources for myself or my family,
Yo no pude encontrar recursos ni para mí ni para mi familia.
like victims of crime, to assist me.
Por ejemplo, lo que me ayudaran lo que es víctimas de delitos.
The depression and PTSD has been overwhelming for our family.
En nuestra familia, tanto la depresión y lo que se nombra por las siglas en inglés PTSD ha sido abrumadora.
The impact was so devastating.
El impacto fue tan devastador.
The emotional, mental, and financial devastation
La devastación emotiva, mental y económica
that took place for my family of 10
que tomó lugar para mi familia de 10,
still weighs heavy with us today.
aún hoy nos pesa.
I was left to handle the mental state of my entire family, including myself.
Yo me quedé encargada de encargarme de la salud mental de toda la familia, incluyendo de mi propia salud mental.
Every day is still a struggle.
Todos los días batalla.
Rex and Jorge,
Rex y Jorge
they were loved,
eran amados,
And they are still loved.
Aún son amados.
And the empty space does not have to be felt again by anyone.
Y nadie puede llenar ese lugar vacío que dejaron.
John Squeal should not be allowed to impact another family.
A John Steele no se le debería permitir impactar a otra familia.
And he should be held to a higher standard of the law.
Y deberían de tener una norma más elevada de ley para él.
Be made accountable to the families.
Debería hacerse responsable a las familias.
By bringing penalty of justice.
Haciendo pagar
for the deaths.
Para que se haga justicia de la muerte.
Of Brian Keith Day.
De Brian Keith Day.
Rex V. Wilson.
Rex V. Wilson.
And Jorge Gomez.
Y Jorge Gómez.
Okay, everybody, it's 9:57 a.m. and this is the time that Jorge Gomez was born, so we're going to take a moment of silence. Our next speaker is LJ from the Board of Families United for Justice Las Vegas and will also be reading a statement on behalf of ACLU Nevada. Hello. Hello, my name is LJ. My brother Thomas McHenry was killed by lvmpd while on his knees begging for his life. I am here today to represent... Oh, do you want to translate? Okay.
Okay. Hola, mi nombre es LJ. Mi hermano Tomás McHenry lo mataron por los policías de Las Vegas mientras que él estaba de rodillas pidiendo por su vida.
I am here today to represent Families United for Justice Las Vegas, a growing collective of police brutality survivors and impacted family members.
Hoy estoy aquí representando a lo que es Familias Unidas por Justicia en Las Vegas, que está creciendo colectivamente, peleando en contra de la brutalidad de la policía y para familias que han sobrevivido.
We are organizing for collective power and systematic change.
Nos estamos organizando para que haya un cambio sistemático y para tener un poder colectivo.
I would first like to send my condolences to the family of Jorge Antonio.
Antes que nada, quiero darle mi pésame a la familia de Jorge Antonio.
I know your pain all too well.
Conozco muy bien el dolor que están pasando.
I know the pain
Conozco este dolor.
of not being able to call your big brother for advice.
Conozco el dolor de no poder llamar al hermano mayor a pedirle un consejo.
I know the pain of hearing your mother scream after finding out one of her children have been murdered.
Conozco el dolor de escuchar a tu madre gritar de dolor después de darse cuenta que han matado a uno de sus hijos.
I know the pain of watching the videos of your loved one being murdered by the same people sworn to protect them.
Conozco el dolor de mirar los videos donde están asesinando a tu hermano por las mismas personas que hicieron un juramento de protegerlo.
I know the pain of hearing your loved one scream in agony as their last moments are taken from them.
Conozco el dolor de escuchar a la persona que amas que grita en agonía cuando le quitan los últimos momentos de su vida.
And trust me, if I could take away all that pain from your family, I would.
Créanme cuando digo que si yo pudiera quitarle a su familia todo ese dolor, lo haría.
If I could carry that pain for everyone who has lost a loved one, I would.
Si yo pudiera cargar ese dolor por toda persona que ha perdido un ser amado, lo haría.
But the sad truth is I can't. But what I can do is fight.
La triste realidad es que no puedo hacer eso. Lo que sí puedo hacer es pelear.
I can fight for change. I can fight to change legislation
I can fight to educate our communities.
Puedo pelear para que se cambie la legislación. Puedo cambiar para educar a nuestras comunidades.
And I can continue fighting for those who can't.
Y puedo seguir peleando por los que ya no pueden.
When people think of Las Vegas, they think of the glitz, glam, and gambling.
Cuando las personas piensan en Las Vegas, lo que piensan es en las luces y que es glamuroso y también en las apuestas.
People often use the phrase, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Y la gente usa una frase que dice que lo que pasa en Las Vegas se queda en Las Vegas.
But that is exactly the issue we're having when it comes to police brutality.
Pero eso es exactamente el problema cuando se trata de la brutalidad de policía.
lvmpd has killed well over 200 people since 1990.
El Departamento de Policía de Las Vegas desde 1990 hasta esta fecha han matado más de 200 personas.
lvmpd had 22 officer-involved shootings in 2017 and 2018.
Tanto en el 2017 como en el 2018, el Departamento de Policía de Las Vegas tuvo 22 tiroteos que involucraron policías,
26 in 2019,
26 en el 2019
and 19 in 2020.
y 19 en el 2020.
lvmpd has had 622 uses of force incidents in 2017,
En el 2017, el Departamento de Policía de Las Vegas tuvo 622 incidentes de exceso de fuerza.
722 in 2018,
En el 2018 fueron 722.
757 in 2019,
En el 2019 fueron 757.
and 782 in 2020.
Y en el 2020 fueron 782.
Our group strategically created a list of 40 demands that can be used as a great starting place to fix the systematic issues we're seeing in regards to police brutality.
Nuestro grupo estratégicamente ha creado una lista de 4 exigencias que podría ayudar a arreglar los problemas que hay los problemas sistemáticos que existen.
We are the living aftermath of police brutality.
Nosotros somos el resultado, los que seguimos con vida después de la brutalidad de la policía.
We live every day with the traumas caused by policing in America.
Nosotros todos los días vivimos con el trauma
Despite us knowing what changes need to be made in order to prevent another senseless murder,
A pesar de que nosotros sabemos cuáles son los cambios necesarios para poder evitar otro asesinato que no tiene sentido,
we still have to beg our local politicians to hear us out and adhere to our demands.
aún así tenemos que rogarle a los políticos que nos escuchen y que accedan a nuestras exigencias.
Jorge's murder could have been prevented if only lvmpd and our local officials acted sooner.
La muerte de Jorge pudo haber sido evitada si tan solo el Departamento de Policía de Las Vegas y nuestros agentes locales hubieran actuado antes,
To change their policies,
hubiesen cambiado su política,
involve the community,
hubiesen involucrado a la comunidad
and actually listen to our voices.
y realmente hubieran escuchado a nuestras voces.
We need to unite and combat this parasitic disease.
Necesitamos unirnos y combatir esta enfermedad.
Please do not be foolish and think your social class, race, or nationality excludes you or your loved one from being murdered.
Por favor, no sean tontos y no crean que los excluye a ustedes tanto su clase social o la raza o la nacionalidad los va a excluir.
Jorge's name is my name.
El nombre de Jorge es mi nombre.
His name is all of ours.
El nombre de él es el de todos nosotros.
Now I'll read a statement provided by ACLU of Nevada.
Ahora voy a leer una declaración preparada por la ACLU de Nevada.
Greetings.
Saludos.
We are writing to express solidarity with all those seeking answers on behalf of the family of Jorge Gomez.
Estamos escribiendo para mostrar que estamos con todos los que piden respuestas de parte de la familia de Jorge Gómez.
We know Jorge Gomez was killed by law enforcement on Monday, June 1st, 2020.
Sabemos que el lunes 1 de junio del año 2020, Jorge Gómez fue matado por las autoridades.
We know there have been statements from law enforcement accusing Jorge Gomez of pointing his firearms at officers.
Sabemos que las autoridades han dado declaraciones indicando que Jorge Gómez le apuntó con sus armas de fuego a las autoridades,
with no evidence of supporting this.
sin que haya alguna prueba que apoye esto.
We know Jorge Gomez's family sought out answers surrounding his death.
Sabemos que la familia de Jorge Gómez pide respuestas acerca de la muerte de él.
know Jorge Gomez's family has received little in the way of solace in that regard.
También sabemos que la familia de Jorge Gómez ha recibido muy poco acerca de eso.
We know that the investigation into the circumstances leading to the moment where Jorge Gomez was killed raises numerous questions.
Sabemos que la investigación acerca del momento en que fue matado Jorge Gómez aún tiene muchas dudas, muchas preguntas.
Where is the surveillance from adjoining area buildings?
¿Dónde están los videos de vigilancia de los edificios que están cerca?
Where is the courthouse footage?
¿Dónde están los videos de vigilancia del juzgado?
Where is the accountability?
¿Dónde está la responsabilización?
Where is the transparency?
¿Dónde está la transparencia?
Our next speaker is More Than a Hashtag, represented by myself and Nikita Fletcher.
I once read, if you ask 10 people on the street in our community what justice means to them, you might get 10 different answers. If you ask 10 victims of crime what justice means to them, you'll likely get a common answer. To victims of crime, justice means that they are treated with respect, that they are listened to, actually heard, and will have a voice in vital decisions that are made related to their cases as well as their lives. Jorge Antonio isn't here to speak for himself, so we will continue to be his voice and demand he receive that respect and justice. On the night of June 1st, 2020, in front of the Lloyd D. George Federal Courthouse, Jorge Antonio Gomez was gunned down 19 times by 5 members of Las Vegas Metro Police Department. Why? Jorge Antonio was exercising his First and Second Amendment right while peacefully protesting for Black lives, my life. Today we are able to gain clarity about the night he was killed, and as you have just seen, he was innocent. He was always innocent. As a community, we can no longer stand by and allow Las Vegas Metro Police Department to get away with senseless, violent attacks on the people of Las Vegas. Justice for Jorge Gomez, justice for them all.
Una vez leí, si le preguntas a 10 personas en la calle en esta comunidad qué significa la palabra justicia, es posible que obtengas 10 respuestas diferentes. Al contrario, si le preguntas a 10 víctimas de delito qué significa justicia para ellos, probablemente obtendrás una respuesta común. Para las víctimas de delitos, la justicia significa que son tratados con respeto, que son realmente escuchados y que tendrán una voz en las decisiones vitales que se tomen relacionadas con sus casos, así como con sus vidas. Jorge Antonio no está aquí para hablar por sí mismo, así que seguiremos siendo su voz y exigiremos que reciba ese respeto y justicia. En la noche del 1 de junio de 2020, frente a la Corte Federal Lloyd D. George, Jorge Antonio Gómez fue disparado 19 veces por miembros del Departamento de Policía Metropolitana de Las Vegas. ¿Por qué? Jorge Antonio estaba ejerciendo su derecho del primero y segunda enmienda, mientras protestaba pacíficamente por las vidas negras, por su vida. Hoy pudimos obtener claridad sobre la noche que fue asesinado, y como acaban de ver, fue inocente. Como comunidad, ya no podemos quedarnos con brazos cruzados y permitir que lvmpd se salga con la suya con ataques violentos sin sentido contra la gente de Las Vegas. Justicia para Jorge Antonio Gómez y justicia para todos.
We have been protesting for months, attended vigils, hugged families, cried out of anger and sadness, and today it was all worth it. All of the screaming, all of the possible arrests and actual arrests, all of the arguments with racist, white nationalists, and all of the late night organizing, all of the sacrifices we made, all of the dedication was worth it. In the end, the truth prevails. We have now exposed the 5th officer's name and released the videos they have hidden for almost 9 months. Today, our family gets a small piece of justice. Justice knowing that LVMPD will now have to answer to the public. Now that we have released this information, we want immediate termination and arrests to be made. John Squillo has now killed 3 people, and these officers are now all murderers. Sergeant Ryan Fryman, Officer Dan Emerton, Officer Vernon Ferguson, Officer Andrew Locker, and now Officer John Squillo. Who will they kill next? Me or you? There is no going back. If the family can't have their loved one back, then there is no going back to work, there is no going back to their families, and there is no going back to normal. It's no more release the videos. It is now arrest the officers who killed Jorge Gomez. As Jorge once wrote, do not cower in the face of revolution. Now is not the time to be scared. This is just the beginning, and we have so much work to do. Now is the time to prove that justice for Jorge Gomez is more than a hashtag and not just a trend. Thank you.
Hemos estado atendiendo varias protestas por varios meses después de esta tragedia de Jorge Gómez. Hemos atendido vigilias con velas y lo único que podíamos hacer fue llorar, abrazar y apoyar a los familiares de Jorge. Pero hoy todas las lágrimas, todos los gritos de tristeza, todas las situaciones de peligro valieron la pena. Los arrestos, los argumentos con racistas y nacionalistas americanas, las noches de desvelo planeando eventos, todos los sacrificios y dedicación prevalece. Ahora hemos expuesto el nombre del 5º oficial involucrado en este caso y por fin, después de casi 9 meses de secretismo de la parte de lvmpd, esta linda familia va a recibir una diminuta justicia. Por fin van a tener paz sabiendo que lvmpd tiene que tomar responsabilidad en la injusticia que ocurrió el 1 de junio de 2020. lvmpd tiene que responder al público. Ahora que tenemos esta información y uno de los videos, estamos exigiendo terminación inmediata para esta injusticia y que los oficiales sean castigados por los crímenes que han cometido. John Squillo es responsable por el asesinato de 3 personas y los otros oficiales involucrados ahora también son asesinos. Sargento Ryan Fryman, oficial Dan Emerton, oficial Vernon Ferguson, oficial Andrew Locker y oficial John Squillo. ¿Quién sigue? ¿A quién más van a matar? ¿Sigo yo? ¿Mis hermanos? ¿Uno de mis amigos? Y lo más triste es, la vida de sus padres y familiares por su pérdida nunca jamás va a ser igual. Estos oficiales le robaron la vida de un muchacho muy querido y no merecen la libertad de poder seguir trabajando y llegando a sus casas llenos de risa y amor. Merecen los castigos de cualquier tipo de persona que mata a un hombre sin pensar 2 veces. Ahora no tenemos que gritar, comparten los videos. Ahora gritamos, arresta a los oficiales que mataron a Jorge Gómez. En las mismas palabras de Jorge, uno no necesita acobardarse en la cara de revolución. Ahora no es el tiempo de tener miedo, solo estamos comenzando. Tenemos mucho más que hacer. Y es cierto, nunca nos vamos a cansar de demandar justicia. Justicia para Jorge Gómez no solo es un asterisco, y es más de un reportaje.
Our next speaker is Leslie Turner, the Director of Mass Liberation Project and Vegas Freedom Fund.
I stand here today in solidarity with the family of Jorge Gomez. Jorge Gomez was a comrade who stood with us in this place, marched with us, chanted with us, and was in solidarity with us when we screamed Black Lives Matter up and down these streets, here and across the country. His life was carelessly and senselessly taken from this world for no reason at all, except that law enforcement has a sickness of violence against citizens, a sickness that can be traced to the foundation of this country. I am standing here today alongside the family of George Gomez to say we demand justice, we demand transparency, and we demand accountability for the officers that took his life. What will it take for DA Wolfson to hold an officer accountable when he takes the life of a citizen? What will it take for DA Wolfson to hold officers accountable? There's no reason we should be standing here today talking about this decade after decade when the same officers that have already killed are still on the streets. What will it take for the legislature to pass real and meaningful policy that centers the voices of those most impacted, not just pacifying police lobbying unions? I pose these questions because I truly don't know if a time will come when the system will hold itself accountable. In the meantime, we must remain in solidarity with families and those people who have lived with police violence in our communities every day. I really call to the community that might be watching this on Facebook or other social media platforms or on the news. We need y'all here. We need the community to show up for families. There's a history of violence in Las Vegas against the community at the hands of law enforcement. We know this because we live it, we see it daily on our way home from work, in our apartment complexes. We hear oral history from our friends and neighbors, and yet there is still this cognitive dissonance that allows the government to ignore what we know to be true. It is our time to shine a light on these experiences and make sure not another young person's life is taken. The reality of police violence can no longer be ignored. If we believe that Black Lives Matter, I ask you to get involved to stand in solidarity with Jorge Gomez's family. Jorge lost his life in the name of Black lives. He stood for us, we need to stand for him. We must also start to envision amongst ourselves what a world without police looks like. That means people in our community, when someone's been harmed, we have to find our own ways to get accountability. A world without police is going to require healing. A world without police will require addressing our collective trauma and grief, and a world without police will require resources. When we say defund the police, it's not just to say take away their money. It is also to say that we must force our government to spend less money on surveilling us, policing us, throwing us in cages, and spending more money on resources we need to survive, not just to survive, but also to thrive and to live in abundance. We must participate in the allocation of city, county, and state budget dollars to make sure that that money is coming back to us, because it is our money. Right now, legislators in this state are trying to pass laws that criminalize protesting. They're trying to make it possible for, matter of fact, Jim Wheeler, who is a legislator, has a bill that allows law enforcement to sue the public. There are bills right now on changing laws around no-knock warrants. So it's important that we're engaged and we're talking about this and we're looking for this and we're showing up and participating in the process. Yes, we have to organize the state out. Shout out to Nisha. She'll be up next. But yes, we have to organize the state out, meaning we have to create sustainable systems of supporting ourselves in our own communities, systems non-reliant on government, while simultaneously taking our seat at the table at city, county, and state levels, because no law should be made for us without us. That's right. I want to say thank you to Jorge Gomez, and I truly believe that he can hear me. I want to say happy birthday, and I just want to say thank you for being in the streets that night. Thank you for standing for Black lives. I'm so sorry that this happened to you. It never should have happened, and it didn't have to happen had there been accountability for the officers who had already killed someone before. Right. DA Wolfson, we need an indictment now. I believe that Jorge Gomez is here today. He can hear what we're saying. And again, just thank you. Thank you and happy birthday. Your death will not be swept under the rug, will not go unanswered, and was not in vain. Black Lives Matter.
Our next speaker is Tanisha Freedom, an anti-police terror activist and a grassroots organizer for Organize the State Out.
Thank you. Oh, no, let me check the mic, or you don't care.
All right. Thank you to George Gomez's family for allowing us to speak here today. We represent the people. We promote the work of the people that forwards our community to a more self-reliant position. We believe the police are an enforcement branch of a racist system that oppresses us, exacerbates poverty, drains our already minimal resources, unfairly and massively incarcerates us, and yes, murders. We work in the community to share ideology that we feel can be implemented to fight back spiritually, ideologically, and physically. We organize to demonstrate a united front against police terror and systematic racism and oppression. Throughout history, the attacks on Black, brown, and red oppressed is relentless. But so has been our resistance. Unfortunately, there is a criminalization on the houseless, the poor, the underdogs. We work to expose the contradiction that the state hinders our ability to truly live free. Last year, we all watched the gruesome caught-on-film murder of George Floyd, and it woke up the emotions of people globally. However, we know it's nothing new. The state maintains its attacks. The arrest of peaceful protesters was and is political. The kettling, the rubber bullets, and the pepper spray of peaceful protesters was a warning to quiet our voices, and was and is political. And the sound of gunshots carelessly ringing out right here on Las Vegas Boulevard in this billion-dollar city that led to the murder of Jorge Gomez was and is political. It was to stop us. It was a warning. Stop all that. This week, we honor a couple of our phenomenal freedom fighters' birthrights and remember their assassination dates during this Black History Month. So I'm gonna do a quote from Minister Huey Newton of the Black Panther Party. "The policemen or soldiers are only a gun in the establishment's hand. They make the racist secure in his racism." And Malcolm X, who was assassinated, Minister Huey's birthright was this Wednesday on February 17th. Malcolm X's assassination date, who was also killed by the state, is this Sunday, February 21st. His quote says, "I'm for truth no matter who tells it, and I'm for justice no matter who it's for or against." The people's justice still needs defined. The people's pain still needs reflected. So keep going, keep organizing, and keep fighting. The power of the people means unity. The power of the people means love. And the power of the people demand justice, our justice. When we say justice for Jorge Gomez, we say justice for them all. Justice for them all.
Justice for them all. All right, to the people. Thank you.
Our next speaker will be Emily Driscoll on behalf of National Lawyers Guild and Boyd School Law Policing and Protesting Clinic.
First of all, happy birthday, Jorge.
Birthday.
On behalf of the UNLV Protesting and Policing Clinic for Professor Elizabeth McDowell, who couldn't be here today, the first statement. Jorge Gomez was murdered by Las Vegas Metropolitan Police officers while trying to obtain justice. The UNLV Policing and Protest Clinic was founded in direct response to movements against police violence and murder. Our goal is to provide legal support for the movement and impacted persons. Today, we join in solidarity with the family of Jorge Gomez to express our heartfelt sympathy and to thank them for their relentless efforts to uncover the truth about Jorge's murderers. We stand in solidarity with our community experiencing yet another police murder and the subsequent state-sponsored lies and cover-ups. We join to demand justice for Jorge's murder and accountability for Las Vegas Metro. And now on behalf of the Las Vegas National Lawyers Guild. My name is Emily Driscoll, and I'm a member of the Las Vegas chapter of the National Lawyers Guild. Our organization's mission is to rally the legal community in support of social causes. Today, the Las Vegas NLG stands in solidarity with Jorge's family and community members who demand that his murderers are held accountable. First and foremost, the members of the Las Vegas NLG wish to express our sympathy for Jorge's family, who have suffered an incredible loss. On June 1st, 5 Las Vegas Metropolitan Department police officers brutally murdered Jorge Gomez. Metro robbed Jorge and his family of so much. Today, we demand accountability from the department and the officers who murdered Jorge for the terror and havoc they have wreaked on Jorge's family and on so many members of our community. The department, the Clark County District Attorney's Office, and our local government has done nothing but lie to the public about the night of Jorge's death. Today, our community knows more than they ever have, thanks to the hard work of Jorge's family, the community organizers who have supported them, and their legal counsel. The Las Vegas NLG will continue to stand in such solidarity with those demanding justice for Jorge.
Mi familia Vota Nevada stands in solidarity with Jorge Antonio Gomez's family.
So that was all of our speakers. We're going to now open up for questions for the family and the attorneys.
Now that we're wrapping this up, we're going to hand out some of the press kit that includes the USB drive, and it includes the inside the USB drive. It has all the videos that we played for you today. It also has the amended complaint adding Officer John Squale. So I'll take a few questions. Yeah. No te escuché.
Tenemos testigos en el video de empresarios que fue baleado. El asesinato está cambio sustancial a los que ya mostraste el año pasado.
So the question is, do you have any videos of the exact moment when police shot and killed Jorge? And we have additional videos. We have, I believe, 5 more videos. If you can see the Foley Federal Building, there's 5 cameras that are on that building. We couldn't reproduce those videos so that we can play them on our computer. We're in the process. We've obtained an expert, and he's helping us with those videos. So we'll have additional videos, but for now, that's all we have. So to answer your question, we do have the exact moment, I believe. We haven't seen those videos yet, but those videos do capture everything that happened on this side.
Any witness
Well, as far as witnesses, we're asking the community, we're urging the community to come forward. The videos that we saw, we know that people were here present watching. We know that. But nobody's come forward yet. And so, for all of you watching, if you were here present, if you saw what happened, contact us. Come forward. This is important. The family deserves to know what exactly happened from your perspective, so come forward, contact us.
LVMPD just identified 4 officers.
Yes.
There was identified. Did you receive any answer from LVMPD or any reason because they never mentioned this officer that day? They only identified 4 officers.
Sure. So, the 4 officers that they've mentioned are the officers that opened that opened fire with the lethal rounds. Officer Squayo, he's the one that shot with non-lethal rounds. I'm not sure why they didn't mention him before, but in our investigation, we found out who he was. So I don't know why they haven't mentioned him or why they didn't mention him at the beginning. Yeah.
So is Officer Squayo added to the lawsuit, and in the lawsuit, what do you allege his role was?
So he has been. He was added a few days ago, and what we're alleging is that he's responsible. He's the one that set the chain of events in motion, right? He used unnecessary or excessive force against Jorge. That's what we're alleging against him. Any other questions? Okay. So we have the media kit. Who has the media kit?
They got it.
Media kit.
Oh, okay.
Okay. You got them?
Where? Oh, okay. So if you guys need a USB drive, if you could, what's her name?
Kiana.
If you could reach out to Kiana, and she'll provide you with the information. Thank you all for coming. We really appreciate you guys being here.
Can I ask another question?
Oh.
Yeah.
Were the police department, the DA, watching your message out there to them?
Today, are they watching? I couldn't tell you. I don't know.
They are.
You know, if they're watching right now, what would your message be to them right now? To
Whoa.
the police department and the district attorney.
Stop killing.
Arrest the officers who killed Jorge Gomez. We want an indictment.
There you go.
Indict the officers.
There you go.
Stop killing our children.
Yep.
The police.
Your job that is to protect us, not to kill our kids.
Family wants justice. Family wants justice.
Voices.
Thank you all.
Okay, in a moment now, we're gonna begin the march around the building in honor of Jorge. We have signs over here. If you all wanna come grab a sign, if you're gonna participate in the march, come grab a sign. And we're just gonna go around the building once and then come back and we're gonna do the celebration of life, okay?
Arrest the officers!
Oh, yeah. Oh.
One moment. This is his mother, Jeannie.
Hey guys, I'm sorry. I don't know if this is working or not. I'm sorry. I just wanted to thank you guys for coming on behalf of the family. It's his birthday today. I'm broken, so I can't really speak. But we did get y'all cupcakes. His favorite was brownies, so we brought everybody some brownie cupcakes. So take some water, take a cupcake, and thank you so much.